Is there gonna be a dip on October 30th? Abso-fucking-lutely. If that's all you needed to know, then great. You can stop watching right here. But if you're sticking around, that means you're looking for answers to make some money and know exactly how big this dip will be. Fair warning, this is gonna get detailed, theoretical, boring. Let's cut to the chase. The second dip is already happening, and it's worse than people realize. Now don't panic. Skins that have high desirability, rarity, and valuation will recover over time. But here's the kicker. They may never reach the old insane price ceilings ever again. That market has been changed to the core, and some of those highs, they're not coming back. Let's talk to a friend of mine who's been an investor for years and is an expert on this. Hello. So here we are with my dear friend, Chicken, should I call you?
Yep, I'm Chicken.
Chicken. He's been a skin investor for a few years now, and he's somewhat of an expert on how the skin economy works. So Chicken, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah, so I remember playing CS back in high school around 2016, and obviously I had absolutely no money, and I think my inventory was worth $200, and I forgot about the game and came back in a couple years, and I was like, whoa, why is my inventory worth $2,000? And
What did you have?
a bunch of cases. It was just cases, all cases that were 3 cents. Some of them were good. I came back and they're worth about $2,000, and I was like, oh my god, like, why didn't I do more of this? And then I did more of this, and basically I kind of went crazy. Thousands upon thousands of all the 10-cent cases when they were dirt cheap. So all in all, I probably had about 20 to 30,000 cases at one point. I sold a bunch of them off during the CS2 bubble, like when it was released, like when the prices hit all-time highs. I was like, now's a pretty good time to cash out, and I sold out a bunch of it, and I've got a bunch left, but it's probably about half.
Wow. So if you can say you may not want to share this, what do you think are your current investments worth?
It's definitely in the tens of thousands. Like it's probably I'd probably guess it's around 20 or 30 right now.
Everyone that understands or has the knowledge to speak on this, they've all said don't panic, this is short term, it's not gonna really kill your market or whatever.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Like I've done the math, and I've also everyone's done the math is pretty easy. I checked the math. Obviously everyone else did it too, but I checked the math, and it would increase the supply by, would it increase the supply by 100? It would be a problem if it increased the supply by 100% tomorrow. This is the upper limit. It will never reach that. It would just be impossible, because as more and more are converted, it will get more and more expensive to actually convert them. So Legion of News, obviously these things,
10x in price. Yeah.
10x in price. Some went up 1,000%. I think one or two of them went up 2,000%. Yada yada. But this was most of the skins that were going to be converted in this update.
Right.
So it'd just be too much work, too much effort, too much money, most importantly.
Yeah.
But what would a reasonable estimation be? Probably less than 50%.
Okay.
It'd be pretty reasonable. It's going to get exorbitantly expensive at some point. So this is the estimation of all the golds that were created on Wednesday when the update dropped. So going back to this,
150k new golds will be tradable. 150,000 new golds will be tradable on October 30th. And that's just the morning, or depends on their time zone too, because a lot of people woke up 6-12 hours after the update and then they traded up.
In theory, could have been traded up. That's the upward maximum. That would be, so 150k would be the upper maximum. You divide it by 5 million, which is the amount of golds that are in existence, and you get about 3%. This is the upper maximum
of new knives introduced.
Of new golds being created on Wednesday.
Data from FloatDB, CS Float's database, shows 150,000 new gold items were crafted in the wake of this update. That's about 5% of all golds in existence. That's pretty big. Think about that. All those new skins are being dumped into an already oversaturated market.
And if, just to go back to this, So this is the liquidity, you know, this is, I didn't do it. The other person made the chart, but you can see immediately after that day, it quartered, you know, and then it halved again, and then it halved again, and halved again. It's just going to keep on doing that until
So people stopped buying as much when the prices went shot up.
It makes sense because the prices are going to keep going up. You know, they're still buying a decent amount. Like before the update, they were buying, you know,
barely anything.
Let's go with 10 or, you know,
20 an hour.
20, yeah, something like that. Nothing substantive.
Now it's like 8 times, 10 times that.
And it's still way more. But like that's
holy shit.
This is what it did on day one. A quarter of that is what happened the next day. A quarter of that is what happened the next day. Let's just say overall 5%.
Compounded over the whole week.
Yeah, approximately, of course, but like 5% of what? So how many of those 5% of reds that could have been converted into golds, how much of a percentage is that investors or speculators, you know?
Right.
Because I would think most of this is FOMO. I would think most of the purchases were FOMO of people not wanting to miss out on the price rises that's going to happen in the future. And
that's not all. A massive wave of accounts have reactivated, flooding the market with buying, trading, and selling activity. But what about the people who spent like $50 or $100 and got like a $1,000 knife? I'm sure there were quite a few people who would be willing to just like immediately sell as soon as this trade hold goes away.
Oh, of course. So if you look at it, so this update dropped, and I'm going to use the middle one. So this is, you know, within 1 hour, you know, it got up to here at 25. So that means the amount of people who bought it at $5, $7 is probably not very much, you know, because there's, let's say it was 100, 200 skins, whatever, and then it just shot up because immediately it hit the cap at 40. How many people managed to do that at the super cheap price? You know, there's not a huge supply of reds, so I would assume that, you know, let's even be over generous. Let's say half of this number right here of 1,300, so about 700, 750 people managed to get it and get a cheap gold.
Right.
All the others managed to get it at the full price.
Right. Because when you buy 5 of those, it doesn't add up anymore. Yeah.
So and it's just going to keep going up. I love speculating. Speculating is so much fun. People who are speculators and who like to hold on to this sort of stuff, I would assume that's where most of the purchases came from.
Okay.
Because most people aren't going to spend $200 on a whim. You know, they're going to look at that and they're going to go, I got to think about that.
Right. So far, like, what do you think is gonna probably feel like the heavy drops on the day off? Because unless someone, I think I saw 1 or 2 tweets saying someone opened a Karambit blue gem, full blue playside.
I saw that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's gonna be like maybe 10 or 20 of those super ultra high tier ticket items that might have been unboxed. I don't think the prices of those is gonna even be within reach of most investors or like, you know, speculative people who want to profit off of this. So yes, maybe the $1.5 million knife might get sold for like a quick sale for 100,000, 50,000 or something. That's like 1 or 2 number in quantity. That's not like majority of the market. Not everyone got a blue gem. Not everyone got a really good knife. What do you think is going to happen to the mid and lower tier knives that most of the people have or just got? Cheapest of cheap gloves and cheapest of cheap gut knives and all that. Versus...
Well, they're already going to... The losers for this update are basically everything that can be traded up to except for factory new gloves and maybe certain knives. I haven't gone through and looked at every single possible type of knife and every single possible, because it would matter the knife itself, its float cap, and the inputs as well as float caps. All the flashy stuff, everything that's expensive, before the information gets out, the factory new gloves, those are probably going to drop quite a bit. I know in China they dropped, I think they were the highest hit thing, like 70%, 70-something percent.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of crazy.
That is insane. Yeah, like I think average everything dropped like 55 to 60%. Most of the things. 70% is fucking abysmal.
Yeah, but almost everything will probably fall, and then they'll recover because people will figure out that they're just as rare as before.
Do you know Bloomberg literally did an article on CSGO crash?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love gushing about this sort of stuff. Honestly, when this whole update dropped, I was just ecstatic with like everything, and I was doing math in my head. It was just wonderful and awful.
Now before we continue guys, if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe, please hit that like button and leave a comment. The floodgates are open and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. Now if we take a look at the numbers from a year ago, the market cap was half of what it was before this update on October 23rd. We are back to last year's market cap, $3 billion down. Here's where it gets rough. Lower tier gold skins, lower tier knives and gloves, they'll take the biggest hit. These skins will flood the market at such high rates. With already not so much of a demand, they're gonna drop prices super quick. And it's gonna be hard for them to recover. There's just too much supply. Too many new players trying to flip for a profit and not enough buyers. And honestly, those skins just aren't worth what they used to be. And those panic sales on the Dragon Lores, Dragon Lore is not even in the collection affected by this update. So why were people selling off D-Lores as if they were gonna tank through the floor? It's just pure panic. But here is the harsh truth. Valve has merged two separate markets into one. One market used to be just for the knives and the gloves, and the other market for all the other skins, like the blues, purples, pinks and reds. Valve has created a single market, and that's what's making everything feel broken right now. The good news, it'll smooth out eventually. It has to. The confidence is there. Sure, people are buying, trading, selling, but it's going to be a rocky ride. Get ready for some sharp drops, some wild swings, and a market that's trying to figure itself out. So to wrap it up, yes, the dip is real. It's happening now, and it's gonna hurt. But if you're smart and play the long game, just don't get caught up in the panic. Stay smart, keep your strategy, and make sure you grab something that you actually want to use and enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe. Happy fucking Halloween, I guess.